Ever After High was a creative, beautifully animated, interesting children's TV show. But Disney had to screw it all up! Hi, I'm Lila, and I cover your favorite TV shows and films, and today I'm going to take a little look back into Ever After High, the 2013 animated TV show invented to sell merchandise, and truly find out if Ever After High's potential was wasted, and also review the show as a whole and my thoughts. Okay, Ever After High was made by the extremely successful toy brand Mattel to sell merchandise including dolls and playhouses, all of which I bought at one point or another. Mattel also owns franchises such as Monster High and Barbie, of course. Monster High is actually extremely similar to Ever After High and actually came out first with their very own animated TV show back in 2010, which had been extremely successful, so Mattel already knew the formula that would work. And of course, not to mention the hundreds of Barbie movies, which I absolutely adore. If you haven't watched Ever After High in a while, here's a little overview recap of what it's all about. Okay, so there's a high school, of course, filled to the brim with the sons and daughters of the most famous fairy tale characters, such as Applewhite, the daughter of Snow White, and Raven Queen, the daughter of the Evil Queen. The conflict comes in when we introduce the Storybook of Legends, and this annoying dude. This book is where the sons and daughters of these famous fairy tale characters vow to follow in their parents' footsteps, and basically either live in riches or literally be imprisoned. So rightfully, some people are pissed about this, and think it's unfair. And these people absolutely do not want to sign the book. And they are called the Rebels. Raven Queen is the one who kickstarts this by refusing to sign the Storybook of Legends on Legacy Day.
I am Raven Queen, and I'm going to write my own destiny. My happily ever after starts now.
But on the other side of people who want to sign the Storybook of Legends, aka the Royals, they're pissed off at the Rebels for not signing because no one knows what will happen to their stories and they might not get their happily ever after. That's when this annoying guy comes back and tells Raven that her story will go poof, and then they'll all go poof poof. So now everyone's scared that they all might just go poof, and they're all upset at each other. Okay, so that's the basic premise of Ever After High. And let me tell you, I absolutely ate this concept up when I was a kid. I mean, who wouldn't? It's about fairy tales, high schoolers, drama. It has the exact ingredients to make the perfect kids show towards elementary school girls. And apparently all the necessary ingredients for almost out of high school aged girls, because I still love this concept. I absolutely love fairy tales. I think they're fascinating and interesting, and I really like to see them expanded upon outside of what Disney just has. And I think the show does a pretty good job about talking about not just established Disney fairy tales. Now, the show is set up in a sort of way where there are narrators who are both on the opposite sides of the situation. So the man narrator is on the side of the rebels and is pretty biased towards them, and the woman is on the side of the royals and very biased towards them. So they're opposing each other alongside of the characters. And the narrators are almost characters in themselves. And speaking of the characters, let's go more in depth on them. Okay, Raven Queen. She is the protagonist of the show. And unlike her mother, she has absolutely no interest in being evil or dark magic or anything of the sorts, which her mother is extremely disappointed in. She's actually very kind, and I would call her somewhat sensible and has a sort of sarcastic attitude, which I like. And everyone at the school hates her and automatically assumes she's evil like her mother is. She understandably does not like her destiny of ending up rotting in a jail cell. And let me tell you, this picture right here freaked me out as a kid. Like, that whole scene is so intense. And on the opposite side, we have Applewhite, who is also the protagonist of this show. But there's a little bit of a rivalry between her and Raven because they're on both very opposite ends of the spectrums of royals and rebels. Everyone at the school absolutely adores her, and she's like the queen bee of it. And she can definitely be labeled and seen as selfish, but at the same time, she doesn't know what's going to happen to her friends if they don't follow their storybook destinies. So that's another angle to look at it. Most people when first watching the show absolutely hate her, but in Dragon Games, it's revealed that there's a lot of external pressure from her mom, Snow White, the queen of the kingdom, for her to be perfect and follow her destiny. And I just love Dragon Games so much, and I really want to do just a whole review on that season because it's so good. But these two characters play off each other really well, and I really like how the show expects the audience to sort of pick a side on who they're going to support. Either they have to be a royal or a rebel. And I remember back in elementary school, it was kind of a big thing where everyone would be like, well, what side are you on? Are you a royal or are you a rebel? And if you said royal, you were kind of looked down upon because everyone didn't like Apple at that point. I actually remember this one girl insulted this other girl saying that she's just like Apple White because she's so selfish. I would love to still be able to use insults like that. I also really like the side plots of the show that focus on some of the side characters, such as Briar Beauty, who's the daughter of Sleeping Beauty, and she is first introduced as just a wild party girl, but then it's revealed to have a lot more depth to it, and that she actually wants to make the most out of the time she has with her friends because when she sleeps for 100 years, she's gonna lose all of them, which is kind of depressing to think about, which shows the writers thought a lot about the consequences of following your destiny for every character. And she also throws this awesome line at Apple when talking about this.
Easy for you to say, Apple. You get poisoned for what, like a week?
And then there's also Ashlynn and Hunter with the whole forbidden romance thing. Now, Ashlynn is the daughter of Cinderella and actually becomes a rebel just so she's able to date Hunter, who's the son of the huntsman in Snow White, which is kind of like a big deal because you wouldn't think the daughter of Cinderella would want to change her fairy tale ending, but she does, and their whole relationship is really cute, actually. And of course, I couldn't forget Madeleine Hatter, the daughter of the Mad Hatter, who is Raven's best friend and technically a royal, but believes that everyone should be able to choose their own destiny, so pledges her alliance to the rebels. What a queen. I absolutely love Maddie. So before we get into why the show ended and if it's a waste, I have to go on a little rant about the animation of this show. I absolutely love 2D animation, and I'm not saying that 3D animation looks bad by any means, but there's just something about it that's so much more pleasing to look at, and this show in particular has seriously some of the most beautiful designs I have ever seen in an animated TV show. Usually you do not see characters and backgrounds so detailed in cartoons simply because it's easier to animate that way, but this show went above and beyond to make it look so aesthetically pleasing and just gorgeous, and I love everything about it so much. Okay, so if this show had all these things going for it, why did it end? Well, the last season of the show is Epic Winter, which I absolutely despise, and honestly I could do a whole video itself just talking about how much I hate it, so leave a comment if you guys want to see that. But that was released all the way back in 2016, so what happened? Basically, like I said in the beginning of the video, Disney happened. There are already a couple of really good videos that go more into detail about this, so I highly suggest that you go watch them after this, but I'm going to sum it up real quick. It's because Disney somehow got the brilliant idea in 2015 to release a movie about the sons and daughters of famous fairy tale characters who are in high school. Sounds kind of familiar. And Mattel didn't want to compete against Disney, so they focused back on their Monster High franchise, which sucked. But don't worry, Monster High is like low-key coming back right now. Back from the dead. Get it? So overall, was Ever After High's potential wasted? And I think the answer to that is yeah, somewhat. The show really peaked when it focused on the dynamic between the fairy tale parents and children, and also the whole royal and rebel dynamic between Apple and Raven. That's why I think seasons like Spring Unsprung and Way to Wonderland aren't as memorable and good as the pilot in Dragon Games. Sadly, Ever After High never got to redeem itself after the epic tragedy that was Epic Winter, because Descendants took over and took this beautiful, interesting, creative show with it, and gave us this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys want to see more content about your favorite animated shows and movies, make sure to subscribe and like the video. Okay, thanks, bye!